For these examples, we're going to implement the following Boolean equations without simplification using two-level forms of logic: NAND-AND, OR-NAND, NOR-OR, and AND-NOR. Now, even though it says without simplification, after speaking with the professor, we can use simplification because we need to change these from POS and SOP back and forth. So I already did that for this example. If you want a guide on how to do that, let me know. I'm more than happy to do that. But before we get into this, I did find something interesting. So before we start, when looking at it, we need to know, are we using POS or the SOP form of the function? And to do that, we're going to look at what does the words contain. What I mean by that is if they contain and, as below, and we're using product of sums. And the easy way to remember that is P is for product and product is and. And then vice versa, if it contains or, which these do, we're using SOP because the S in SOP stands for sum of products and sum is or. Just get our first example. I already changed this from SOP to POS and back and forth. So this allows us to start easier. So the first one asks us for NAND and AND. So NAND and. So the first thing we're going to say is we need product of sums, which is going to be our top one. I'm going to erase that because we're going to be going back and forth. So F equals A or B and C or D and A prime or B or D. So I need to create NANDs. So to do this, the first thing I'm always going to do with all these examples is I am going to use De Morgan's theorem, and I'm going to do it twice because it's the same thing as F. If I take De Morgan twice, it's the same thing. So I'm going to De Morgan this twice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the insides here. So I'm going to De Morgan the inside. So it's A prime and B prime, that above. Then I have this with two lines. Then I have C prime and D prime, the line above, multiplication. And then I have A and B prime and D prime with a line above. F. Now, these, I'm going to highlight all the NANDs, all the NAND gates. So this is a NAND, this is a NAND, and this is a NAND. Then I'm going to highlight all of our ANDs. This is an and this is an and. Because if I De Morgan it twice, I go from De Morgan it once, I get or, which is a plus, then De Morgan again, and I'm right back to and. So this is how we take it from NAND, from our POS to NAND and. The next one is asking us or NAND. So I'm going to write it down. Or NAND. We're going to be using the SOP of this, the sum of products. So F equals AD or CD or B and C. So the same thing I said again. We are going to De Morgan twice. Boom, 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 and boom. Okay, I am going to 1 second, I'm sorry. I am going to De Morgan the insides. So I get A prime or D prime. Then I'm going to change this. I'm going to De Morgan this here. Turns into an AND. Then I do C prime or D. Change that. Then I get B prime. Sorry, this is a prime as well. Or C prime. This is all over 1 prime because we used it once. Now I'm going to highlight our ORs. So our ORs are this, 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 and this. Our NANDs are all of these here, so it's going to flow into a 1 NAND gate. The next one asks us for NOR-OR. So I'm going to write that down. NOR to OR. So because I am doing OR, we're going to be using SOP again, the sum of products. So write that down. F equals AD or CD or B and C. Like I said, we are going to De Morgan twice. So De Morgan. I want to take the prime and give it. So the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to De Morgan these here. So I say F equals A prime or D prime. And there is a bar above this and 2 here. C prime or D prime. Or we're going to do 2 bars above this and a single bar above this. And then B prime or C prime. 1 bar above this. Now I'm going to highlight our NORs. So our NORs are going to be these. NOR, NOR, and NOR. These are our ORs. So our NORs are going to flow into our NORs, or connect into our NORs is a better way of saying it. And the reason we know these are ORs is because if I De Morgan this, I go from plus to an AND. Sorry. And if I do it one more time, I go back to an OR gate. Thus, these are OR gates. The last one that we are going to do is AND to NOR. So, AND to NOR. I'm going to write that down. To NOR. Now for this, because we're using AND, we are using POS, product of sums, the product of sums. So F equals, it's going to be the top one, so it's A or B, C or D, and then I totally forgot the A bar for this one, for the last 2, but that's okay, we understand how to do it. A bar, I'm sorry, we didn't need the A bar for the last 2, I'm sorry. A bar or B or D. We do not need the D bar for this one. Okay, the same thing again. I am going to De Morgan twice. Boom, or find the prime twice. I'm going to mark this extra just so we know that it is a prime. So I am going to De Morgan these here. So first thing I'm going to do is F equals A bar or B. A bar and B bar. Then I'm going to take De Morgan this. C bar, D bar, and then A, B bar, D bar. And these is all covered by a bar. So I'm going to highlight our ands. This is our and, this is our and this is our and. Then I'm going to highlight our NORs. Our NORs are this, and our NORs are this. And that's how you solve the first problem. The second problem, sorry, I was testing something earlier. I'm going to erase all this. The first one we're going to do is NAND AND. So write that down. NAND to AND. And as we said before, AND is P. So product of sums. So it's going to be this one right here. So F equals A or C bar or D bar. A or C bar or D. So the first thing I always do is I De Morgan twice, every single time. De Morgan, boom. Next, the first thing I do is I am going to take, I'm going to De Morgan these here. This one here, and this one here, and I'm going to leave this and here, I'm leaving it alone. F equals A bar C D times with a dash, go across, A bar C D bar, the bar across. Now I'm going to highlight our NANDs, and I'm going to highlight our AND next. So the first one, highlighting our NANDs. These are our NANDs. This is our NAND. Now I'm going to highlight our AND. AND is here. Because if we De Morgan it twice, we're back to an AND. Our next one we're going to be doing is OR NAND. So I'm going to write that down. OR NAND. Okay, so because we're using OR, we're using sum of products. The sum of products, which is our top one. So F equals A or C and D, or C bar and D bar. The first thing I'm going to do, twice, same thing every time. I'm sorry about that. I wrote it over. I'm just going to write it like that. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to take the De Morgan of these here. So this one, F equals A bar. Then I'm going to take the De Morgan of this. So do that, the bar across. C bar or D bar. Parentheses around this. C or D. And because there's bars across all of this, I can connect them all. So all the way across. So now I'm going to highlight our ORs, which are going to be. Technically this one is an OR because it's A bar or a 1. Next one, OR, then our NANDs are NAND and NAND. The next problem is NOR-OR. I'm going to write that down. NOR-OR. F equals. We said again, we are using sum of products because of the OR. So we have A or C and D, or C bar D bar. We're going to take conjugate twice. 1, 2. Then I am going to, then I'm going to take this here. So we say F equals A bar or bar bar. We have a bar across this. C bar or D bar. With a bar across the top. Or 2 bars. C or D. With 1 bar across this. So what this means is, I'm going to highlight our NORs first. This is our, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm getting my highlighter. These are our NORs. This is a NOR. And this is a NOR. And I'm going to highlight our ORs. This is an OR. And this is an OR. So we changed it to NOR-OR. The last one we're going to be doing is AND NOR. So I'm going to write that down. AND NOR. I'm sorry about that. And NOR. F equals, so as we see here, we have an AND. So using product of sums, which is our top one. So I'm going to write that down. No, I'm sorry, it's our bottom one. A or C bar or D bar. Make that more clear. A or C bar or D. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, same thing always. Take 2 of these. Now, I need to turn these, I'm working in red, these into ANDs, and this into a NOR. So I'm going to turn these into ANDs first. So I'm going to do them at once. So I said A bar and C and D. Then I'm going to turn this into a positive. I'm going to do Morgan at once. Then I'm going to say A bar, C, D bar. And there's a bar across the whole top equals F. So I'm going to highlight our ANDs. So this is an AND. And this is an AND. I'm going to highlight our NORs. This is a NOR because of this. So it's just across the entire top of this. Next problem. First thing, NAND AND. Put that down. NAND AND. So we're using product of sums. So right above, A bar or B or D, A, not a bar, or B or D bar. So I need to turn these into NAND and this one into AND, which it already is, so I don't need to touch that one. So take it twice. 1, 2. To turn that into NAND, I need to De Morgan these right here, once. So I say A, B bar, D bar with a bar across. My AND has 2 bars on it, so it's just an AND. The next one, A bar, B bar, D with a bar across it. So I'm going to highlight my NANDs. This is a NAND. This is a NAND. Now I'm going to highlight my AND. This is an AND. So that is our final equation. Our next one is OR NAND. So write that down. OR NAND. Again, like I said, if we're using OR, we're using sum of products. So this one's going to be A prime or B or D. Just make sure I'm doing the right one. A or B or D, sum of products. I'm so sorry, I picked the wrong one. It's sum of products, which is our top one. B or A bar, D bar, or A, D, A and D. So these, I'm mark it. These need to turn to ORs, and these need to turn to NANDs. So do that, same thing as always. Do this twice, do the complement twice. So turn that, we're going to take B bar. This is going to turn into multiplication with a bar across it. There's still a bar above this one. So these are connected. A or D. There's a bar across this one, so I can connect it because there's still one continuous bar. De Morgan this one, and then De Morgan this one. A bar or D bar. And there's a bar across this whole thing. So I am going to highlight my ORs. So this is an OR, this is an OR, and technically this is an OR because B prime OR 1. Now I'm going to highlight my NAND. This is my NAND, this is my NAND because of this bar across the entire top. Next is going to be NOR OR. F equals B or NOR B A bar D bar A D. So I'm going to write it. These need to be these need to be ORs, and these need to be NOR. So the first thing I'm going to do, is it OR NOR? I'm sorry, it's NOR OR. And quite a few mistakes, but it's alright. Everybody makes mistakes. NOR OR. So let me do this one more time. These here in red, the ones in red need to turn to NOR. The ones in blue need to turn into OR, which they already do. So I'm going to take the complement twice. 1, 2, 1, and 2. Am I writing over that one? Doesn't matter. So first thing, I need to turn this into NOR. So I'm going to have my B bar or bar with a bar across the top. Then I have my A or D, the bar across the top, plus A bar or D, the bar across the top. So, as we can see, I'm going to highlight our NORs. I'm going to highlight them in red because I started this in red. So this is our NOR. This is our NOR. This is our NOR. And I'm going to highlight my ORs in blue. This is our OR. This is our OR. Okay. For the last one, I'm matching it into AND NOR. So write that down. AND NOR. Remember what I said. If we're using AND, we're using product of sums. Same as the top. A bar or B or D. A or B or D bar. Okay, so our first thing we need to do is I'm just going to highlight what we need to turn into. So red will be our AND. Blue will be needs to turn into NOR. So this needs to turn into NOR. And this needs to turn into AND. So first way I'm going to do this is I am going to take the complement twice. 1, 2. 1, 2. Don't worry about the colors. It makes absolutely zero difference. So I'm going to De Morgan the first one. So it's A, B bar, and D bar. Then I'm going to turn this, I'm going to De Morgan this, which is this one right here. Then my A bar, B bar, D. And there's a bar across the entire top because there was that last one. So as we can see, I'm going to highlight my AND. So highlighter, red. This is my AND. This is my AND. I'm going to highlight my blue. This here is my blue because this is connected by the whole thing. And that is how you implement each of these. It's kind of long. I made a few mistakes, but I did fix it. It's okay to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.